the article on how diversity makes us smarter, you can't see the entire article. So I will try to find the entire article and post it or send you guys a email regarding that. Any questions though before we start? Yeah.
So just wanted to clarify, all we got and I do for this week was just the writing, the taking notes, and that student resource thing.
Yeah, so for the for everyone, it's the campus resource and the educational planning assignment that needs to be submitted, right? Those two assignments, yeah, and everything else would be taking notes or doing the discussion and the journal. And then for group C, it's also that short assessment, right? Okay, so let me bring up this PowerPoint. Hold on. Let me bring it up. And we're going to continue critical thinking, and then we're going to, I'm not sure if I can cover everything today because I want to show you guys a movie and have you guys do notes, but that will come a little later on after this part of the lecture. But let me bring this up. All right, so again, we're going to continue critical thinking, and just to kind of just make it a little fun. Let's see, I'll give you guys a few moments to figure out, and then if you can type in how many squares you think there are here, basically. So type it in chat if you know how many are there.
Wait, you said we should type it in chat?
Yeah, just type it in chat and stuff. I just want to
Okay.
see where everyone is with this. And so it's critical thinking. So you want to really think about how you're going to answer this. All right, I think we got most everybody, right? Okay, so let's look at this as far as the squares. And let's see if I can keep track of this. So right now there is, so how many squares, the question is, how many squares are there, right? And so basically, let's just kind of do this step by step. So there's one square, right, which is the entire square. So that's one, right? And then you're going to look at, there's 4 squares here, 4 squares here. So that means that there's 16, right? So 16, that's 17, right, so far. And then we're going to look at basically, if you look at, this is 1 square, right, but 4 by 4. So that's 1, right? And then 2, right? 3, and then 4, right? Then you go inside, then that's, we said 4, there's 5, right? Here's 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, right? And then you have basically 3 by 3, right? So you got 1, right? 2, right? 3, and then 4, right? Right? Are there any other squares that we're missing? Did I miss something? So basically there are, based on that number, there's 30 squares that are there. Right? Any comments about that? So again, it's 30 unless I missed something, 30 squares total. Right? Does everyone see that, the 30?
How you get that again?
Okay, so so we have the bigger square, right? This entire thing is 1. Then we're going to do the individual smaller squares, right? So there are 4 here, 4 here. So that means for this entire thing, there's 16, right? Then we're looking by 4 by 4, right? So we got 1 here, right? And then we got 2 here, right? 3 here, 4 here, 5 here, 6 here, 7 here, 8, and then in the middle 9, right? Then we do 3 by 3. So we got basically 1, right? And then we got 2, and then 3, and then we got 4. And then that all totals to 30.
Okay,
Got it?
I think.
You think? Okay, so it's critical thinking, right? When it's asking you how many squares, then you really have to kind of think, well, okay, where are the squares, right? So again, it's about critical thinking. All right. Okay, so for the next one, let's do this. Let's see what you guys get. So we'll give you a few moments to kind of figure this out. Let's see who can figure it out. I know it's going to be hard to kind of demonstrate this, but let's see what happens. So we'll give you a few moments. So again, it's draw 4 straight lines through the dots without lifting your pen or pencil. I'll give you guys about 5 minutes. That should give you guys enough time, right, to figure it out. Critically think about it. Anyone get it yet?
I think I got it.
Okay, so hold on. Let's see what when I show you the I'll demonstrate it and let's see if you have it and stuff. But remember, it's 4 straight lines without lifting, right, your pen and go through all the dots. Anybody need more time? All right, so let's see if I can demonstrate this. Let's see, hold on. So we are going to try the whiteboard and see what happens. Hold on. Okay, so we're going to try this. I don't know if this is going to work, but I know last time I tried it. So we'll do, right, there are 9 dots. Okay, so basically it said to draw 4 lines, right, through all of the dots, right? So you're not able to basically go, if you did, I'm not drawing it yet, but let's say that if you went here and then you went here and then you went here, 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 that's 4 lines already. That means you missed the middle, right? So if you went here, then here, that's 2 lines already. And then you went here, that's another line, right? And then if you went here, that's another line. But if you go over another, that's another line, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so let me give you the answer. So basically, if you start from, let's say, one of the points, right? And then you draw from this, sorry, this point. I know it's crooked, but just imagine straight. right? And then you bring the line down, right? And then if you bring the line, so in order for it to be straight, then you'll bring it through these dots, right? Then you have to take it all the way out here to include these other dots. And that's 4 lines. Right? Does that make sense? Right? If you really critically think about it, you kind of have to think about, well, how do you include that? And a lot of you probably stayed within the box, right? So a lot of you guys probably went within here, right? Right, but the directions didn't say anything about going beyond sort of the dots themselves in order to draw the lines, right? All right, so again, this is critical thinking and really kind of thinking about, it's an example of really thinking about, well, what is the issue? How do you resolve the problem? And how do you go beyond what's there in front of you, right? And what your current thinking is, because a lot of you guys were thinking, because you saw the dots sort of in a formation of a square, so you stayed within the square. So essentially within the box instead of thinking outside of the box. All right, so it's also a metaphor as far as how you should be thinking, right? You should be thinking about, well, what else is there? What other solutions are there in order to provide the answer that we need, right? Okay. Any questions about that? Oh, right now we're doing critical thinking. We just did an exercise regarding doing the 9 dots and drawing 4 straight lines. And so let me go back to the original slide. That was the answer, and this was the question, basically. All right. So for those of you that missed it, all right. So let's just go over what we learned last week really quickly to kind of make sure that everyone has a clear idea and give you an opportunity to ask questions. So Bloom's taxonomy, remember, it's about critical thinking, and then there's a foundation to get to critical thinking. And so what are the 3 things, or let's actually start with the very, very bottom. What creates the foundation at the very bottom of thinking? What do you need first? If you guys can type it in chat, and let's see what you guys come up with. Or you can just unmute if you want to. So what's at the very bottom?
I believe it was knowledge.
Yes, so knowledge, so those are the facts, things that you're learning, right? So knowledge is the first thing, right? And then with that knowledge, what do you need? So which is the next thing up? What is the next thing you need to be able to do? Anybody?
Comprehension?
Yes, comprehension or understanding. Yes, definitely. Because you'll get this information, and the next thing you need to do is understand, well, what is it about, basically? And then what's the next thing?
Application. You gotta, apply this to.
That's right. That's right. So this is where it's application means, or could mean you taking a test. It could mean you teaching it to somebody else, or using the information in a paper, etc. Right? So that's the next thing, is the application. Now, the top 3 things are actually where critical thinking actually begin, basically, right? So what is that? What is the first thing that you're going to do with information once you know you have the information, you understand what it is, and you know how to use it, and how it can be applied? What what's the next thing as far as moving into critical thinking?
Analyze.
Yes. And then who can define analyze? What's the what does analysis means? What does it mean?
To relate to the facts.
Yeah, so you're gonna relate to the facts, but how are you gonna do that? So that's good.
By taking stuff apart.
Yes, that's right. So you're gonna take stuff apart and then you're gonna relate to the different parts of it, right? To understand it a bit more or get a deeper understanding. Yeah, good, excellent. And then what's the next thing? After you analyze, take everything apart, what do you do with what you have analyzed? What do you do with it?
You have to synthesize it, I believe.
That's right, synthesis. So synthesis means bringing that new understanding back together again. So basically, you know, once you take everything apart, then you put it back together again, right? But you put it all that information together with that new understanding from breaking it apart, right? So yes, so it is synthesize the information, and then with the synthesis of the information, bring everything back together again. What's the next thing or the very top of that?
Evaluation.
Yes, evaluation. So evaluation is when you come up with your own perspective based on what you've learned about whatever that topic may be or that issue might be, right? So then, yes, it is evaluation, right? So this is where with all that information, you can say whether something is working, why it's not working, or why you agree or disagree with whatever the issue might be, right? So this is critical thinking, and this is what's called Bloom's taxonomy and sort of the stages for critical thinking and applying critical thinking. Any questions about that? All right, and in the information I gave you, I'm just kind of bringing this up again just to make sure if you're not exactly sure how to sort of understand it, this gives you an idea of the different stages as well as some of the words that are associated with it so you can get a better idea of what each stage of Bloom's taxonomy is about and stuff. All right, so more critical thinking. Let's see what you guys come up with. How many circles do you guys see? Or do you even see circles? Okay. Someone said 16. Anybody else?
I personally, I only see one.
One. Okay. Someone says 36. Okay. Someone says there's none. Okay, good. All right, so again, it's all about perception, right? And what you see. So let's kind of look at this. So here's a circle, right? And here's another circle, and here's another circle, and another one, another one, another one here, another one, and then so forth, right? Now, so there's 16 basically, right? Here, someone said 36. How did you get 36?
I didn't, say that, but I think I know how they may have gotten that number. I mean,
Oh, okay.
it's not
Yeah.
my place to put any. It's not my place to say. They should explain it.
Yeah, but do you see 36 also then?
I don't know if I see 36, but I see how they got that number.
Okay. Okay. Now I forgot who said 36, but do you want to explain how you got possibly 36? No? Okay. Oh, okay, by guessing. Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, so there are, based on this, there is 16. So again, it's about how you look at stuff, right? And so I think this will go into when we get into diversity and looking at different things. It's about how you look at things and how you perceive things. And you want to be aware that different people will perceive different things differently, right? So this is an example of somebody seeing, let's say, a situation in a different way than maybe somebody else, right? So again, it's just, I'm trying to kind of provide sort of simple exercises to kind of get across about perspective and how different people will see things, right? And you may not see the same things that everyone else sees, right? You may see something different. All right, so the next thing, let's see what happens with this to make it even a little bit more complicated. So solve this riddle. As he approached the center of the field, he knew he was going to die. The man finally lay dead in a field. Next to him, there is an unopened package. There's no other creature in the field. How did he die? So we'll give you guys some time to kind of see if you can figure this out. How did this person died?
Oh, I think I know.
Okay, what do you think it is?
Obviously, it was old age. I mean, he said he knew he
Okay.
was gonna die. The package was unopened, so there couldn't have been like some sort of weapon or poison in it. There's no other creature in the world, so he couldn't have been like stung by a scorpion or anything.
Okay.
Probably just grew old, walked in the field, and died. That's my theory, at least.
Okay. So when you say approach, when you see he approached the center of the field, he was walking in the field. Is that what you're guessing?
Well, there could have been some other form of locomotion. Like he could have been driving a car or something.
Oh, okay. Okay. And he finally lay dead in the field, which means he came out of the car then, probably.
I would assume so.
Okay. All right. Somebody says that he was already injured from something else. Okay. Anybody else? So critically look at it, remember analysis, right? Analyze the different parts. Figure out, well, how do you kind of think outside of the, so it's divergent thinking, right? If you do some divergent thinking, right? And then convergent thinking is about sort of looking at the facts, right? So looking at both in all the different aspects of this in different ways, right? Okay. So Tanya says it's a failed parachute. Anybody else get that?
If you can consider like a parachute as like a package, then yeah, that would make sense.
Okay. Okay. And the approach, right? So Brennan had mentioned that it could be a vehicle. And also I mentioned walking, right? So approach could be both of those, but it could also be a parachute, right? Like coming from the air, because if you're looking at this riddle, most people will think it's somebody on the ground, but why not from the air, right?
If you want to take like the really boring approach to this, you could just like circumvent the entire like riddle and just say that he walked into the field and he was already like injured and going to die from like a wound or some other unrelated thing, and there just happened to be like a package there. Like you could just say that, and that would like defeat the entire point of the riddle. But I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. So again, it's different perspectives, right? Regarding a situation and really kind of thinking about it, right? But so here's the answer. The man had jumped from a plane, but his parachute had failed to open. And so the unopened package is actually the parachute. Did anyone get that? So Tanya, that was good. All right, so let's do this one. a man lives on the 10th floor of a building. Every day he takes the elevator to go down to the ground floor to go to work or to go to shopping. When he returns, he takes the elevator to the 7th floor and walks up the stairs to reach his apartment on the 10th floor. He hates walking, so why does he do it? So again, use your critical thinking skills, right? Examine all the different ways, right? Use some divergent thinking about all the different ways that it, or possibilities. And then also use convergent thinking to think about what are the facts, right?
Maybe the elevator is busted.
Okay, could be.
For some reason, it can't go all the way up. It has to
Mhm.
stop at a lower level. I mean, that often happens with elevators.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, plenty that haven't been able to go all the way up a building.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it could be that, I guess, but if you're gonna like take it as that, the elevator would just have to like stop at the 7th floor, and he would have to walk up and down the stairs both times. So if he hates walking, then he would have to do it if the elevator was like busted, and it would only stop at the 7th floor. So he would have to walk down from the 10th floor to get on
Okay.
and off, because it doesn't say anything about him like taking the elevator straight to the ground floor. It just says he takes it, which means
Yeah.
that he could walk down the stairs and then take it. Just like he walks up the stairs after he does it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
think,
go ahead. Who was that?
and me.
Okay,
I think that the guy is short because it doesn't say anything about the elevator being,
broken.
yeah. or
Okay,
something,
okay,
yeah.
okay, that's good.
Yeah, no, that also makes sense. It's just like if we're gonna infer like random solutions, then if you,
Yeah.
I just went off of what Brandon said, where if the elevator is broken, then and it only stops at like the 7th floor or something, or only goes up and from the bottom to the 7th floor, or down from the 7th floor to the bottom, then he would have to do that. Just walk down and up the stairs for 3 floors every day. Even if he hates walking, he still has to
Yeah.
if he wants to get anywhere. So, although that's probably not the answer that the riddle wants, because it's not.
No,
There's
but I
nothing
mean,
about
that's
the elevator
good.
being
I
broken.
mean, again, it's all about how you see things and your perspective and how you analyze it, right? To determine what the answer might be. So that's why you have, you know, let's say, take for example, if, you know, there's a criminal act that happens and then they have witnesses, everyone has a different perspective and a viewpoint on what actually happened, right? So you have to really critically think about, well, what's there? What are the possibility to come up with what the possible right answer might be? So for this one, so that's good. So basically, yes, the man is short, basically, right? So essentially, he can't reach, right, the 10th floor button because it's too high for him, right? So that's right, because somebody had come up with that earlier. So yes, good thinking, good critical
That's
thinking.
definitely like the riddle like answer there. If
Yeah.
you want to like not infer anything that isn't directly like implied by the question, that
Yeah.
definitely works as that. Yeah.
All right, so let's see. So this is a news report from 2006. And probably a lot of you guys weren't born then, right? I'm assuming. I can't remember. I don't know what your ages are, but I'm assuming everyone's really young. So so in this report, it says that recently a man repeatedly set off the security alarms at a US airport. When the usual wands and patting down failed to reveal the source of the trouble, he was detained, sniffed by dogs, and strip searched. So what do you think was happening, and what might be the assumption? So this was in the height of sort of the security things that were happening all over the world and stuff. So just to kind of give you guys context and how everyone was pretty cautious about stuff. So what do you think was happening? Like what was first of all, what probably were the assumptions? Or what are your assumptions regarding what's happening?
Well, he set off a security alarm. The security think he might have something on him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Nothing they'll do is working, so they're going the more extreme methods.
Mm-hmm.
It's all. This is probably like a full story, and there's only 3 lines. There's not enough information to make any form of guess. I think.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yes. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah, someone might have thought that he was a terrorist, right? Because of 9/11 and stuff, right?
What is the question we're supposed to be responding to with this one?
Well, I'm just asking you, well, what was happening here, right? Because basically they apprehended this guy because the alarms were going off, but they couldn't find anything. So this is a real life sort of event that actually happened. And I was just asking about, well, what might have been some of the assumptions, even before maybe the strip search or them failing to find anything. And what do you think is actually happening? Oh, someone says probably metal inside of their body. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say that too. I mean, lots of people have like artificial limbs made out of metal. I've heard those
Yes.
can accidentally set off the security systems.
Yeah, or if you have fillings in your teeth, something that goes off, right? I think. Or let's say if you have I mean, there's less and less people that have like dentures and stuff. Sometimes those have metal in it, right? So basically the rest of the story, so it wasn't like a whole story, it's just something that was really short, but that's what the rest of the story was on the in the publication. Basically, he finally was released when he thought, so he forgot, right? He finally was released when he thought to disclose the fact that a few weeks earlier he had been treated with radioactive iodine for his overactive thyroid gland. Right? So, they made probably a lot of assumptions, and because of, the security things that were going on, they were definitely overcautious, right, about what it is. And the person themselves forgot about what the possibilities might be, but then realized what was actually happening, right, with the radioactive iodine and stuff. So again, it's kind of being aware of what might be in the possibilities, because again, a lot of people will make assumptions and then come up with sort of their own sort of solution to it, what it might be, right? All right, so here's one thing just to kind of give you guys an idea of, well, what is actually the truth, right? For a lot of times, not always, but for a lot, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see, a perspective, not the truth. And this is from a Greek philosopher from, I don't know what age, but a Greek philosopher. So both of these guys are looking at one item, but they're all looking at it from a different perspective, right? They're seeing different things, kind of like that exercise we did last week, where some of you saw the old woman and the young woman, right? And some of you saw both, some of you saw either one. So this is the same concept, right? So again, it's about really being clear and really seeing what's in front of you rather than making a quick assumption about something, because whatever is in front of you might necessarily be what it actually is, right? And being aware of that, right? Any comments and questions about that? Questions, comments? How do you guys, as far as this critical thinking thing that we're doing, how do you guys feel about your critical thinking skills? Anybody? Getting better? So it's your education is part of that. I think I already mentioned to you guys that getting a degree definitely confirms with employers when you start getting a job that you have developed your critical thinking skills, because in all your classes, that's what you're going to have to be doing, is really thinking about what the material is about and what it means, basically, right? And that's every class, from math to sociology to history, etc., right? And being aware of what's in front of you and what assumptions you might have, etc. I did in the this week's module, there are I think a couple of things that I want you guys to look at. There's the implicit bias thing for you guys to do. So hopefully you guys do those soon, so that we can kind of talk about it. But implicit bias means that you have a certain way of looking things. And we talked about last week about perspectives and how those are affected by filters. So implicit bias goes even deeper, where you don't necessarily know why you're reacting to some situation a certain way or some people in a certain way. And so that's due to implicit bias that you're not totally aware of. And so hopefully that exercise that you have within the module will kind of give you an idea of where you are with implicit bias and being aware of what implicit bias you have. So we're gonna, I'm hoping we have enough time. We'll see what happens, but I'm gonna play a movie for you guys. And when you return from break, basically. So we're gonna take a break and we're gonna watch a movie. And then what I want you guys to do, and we'll talk about that before I start the movie, but think about diversity is part of critical thinking, right? And being aware of what's out there, and then not making assumptions, not stereotyping, and be really critical as far as how you look at situation, people, etc. So I want you guys to take notes as far as what you see regarding diversity, what you see about any kind of bias that might be happening in the movie, and any questions that you have, right, relating to critical thinking and diversity that might come up in the movie. And then hopefully there's time enough to discuss it after the movie's done. But we will actually have some time next week to discuss it. But we'll take a break and let's everyone come back at 12:30. I'll be in here. I'll have my camera off, but I'll be in here. But come back at 12:30. All right.